All right, folks, welcome back to FBA on the Water, episode 11, with your hosts, Nate Flips FBA, and my co host,
Lucky Flips Arbitrage, Zach.
Zach. And we have a
Yep.
special guest today. His name's Cory. You guys might see him as Viper. And Cory, want to introduce yourself and let the people know who you are?
Yeah, what's good, guys? Happy to be on here. My name's Cory Jennings. Currently in the New York area, Brooklyn. Grew up in the Pocono area of PA. Now just kind of diving into Amazon, trying to network with more people in the space, but have like a audio and kind of like recording music background, and now just kind of diving into e-commerce. So, um, I'm Viper on Discord, and yeah, I think that's like a short, brief little intro.
Yeah, so
Nice,
Cory,
nice.
what got you into like the e-com space or Amazon? Did you start with eBay? Have you always had like the intention of doing this type of stuff?
Yeah, I feel like my story aligns with a lot of people if they didn't really just set out doing this. I actually decided to go to college for audio engineering, which probably wasn't the best career choice, especially lined up with COVID happening. So I actually graduated college and COVID hit, and now I got to the point where like, okay, a lot of live events, a lot of stuff like that was no longer happening because COVID pretty much took all of that away. So I
Yeah.
ended up moving home. And at the time, I always was kind of flipping things here and there, not from like a full income standpoint, but just I found something cheap. I flipped it on eBay. I had a piece of equipment from years ago that I ended up using or um, kind of like scaling it up and just selling it and just getting some cash from it. So just flipping things here and there. And I went home and kind of started doing some freelance work in the audio scene. And then that must have been the second year of pools. And I saw the
Yeah.
opportunity in pools. And I was having a conversation with my dad because I kind of got into Discord at that time, just trying to network with people, find groups, see what else I could get into since kind of my career, quote unquote, that I was trying to get into was non existent at that point. And my dad and I actually went out and we were trying to source some pools, and we got like four, maybe 14-foot elite pools. And this was like March in PA. So it's like 30, 40 degrees. Like it's not summer.
Early.
Yeah, yeah.
I listed it on Facebook, and within an hour, somebody messaged me, and I sold one for like 2x um, the next day. And by the end of the week, I've sold all four of these pools, and it's March in PA. And at that
Wow.
point, I pretty much went on a rampage, going to like Philly and going to like every Walmart, just flipping pools all summer. And in the back of my mind, I knew that was going to come to an end. I just did a real good job, and there was a market locally to just sell this stuff where I was at. At that point, I opened up my Amazon account to try to obviously move this online. And that's when I
Right.
just tried Amazon. I just kind of started. I wasn't really good at sourcing, to be honest. Just kind of moved the pools that I couldn't move locally anymore to just kind of like, hey, we're just starting to make some sales on Amazon. But um, did some kind of like eBay stuff, but just knew that it wasn't for me. I didn't like the listings. People can do volume, but I just knew Amazon was the way to go. Once you just kind of break it and get your foot in the door, honestly. So that was kind of it.
Yeah, I hear you. Me and Zach, we definitely missed the pool
Yeah.
craze. That would have been pretty fun to be a part of
Jump in
that.
on
But
that. Yeah.
that's awesome.
We
That's I mean, go on, Zach.
yeah, we had just like talked about a couple weeks ago. We're like, I wonder if pools are gonna be a thing this year too. Which I mean, who knows really, but it would be cool to jump in if it was like figuratively, not literally jump into a pool, but, but yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I like the heaters and all that other stuff. You know, there's been several items or like hair clippers, like all that type of stuff that if you've been in the reselling or Amazon community, like you've heard about this stuff. But there's definitely waves of products where it's just like so unbelievably hot, where you have like a short period of window to make a lot, you know, off of one product, where it's just the opportunity
Yeah,
presents itself. And that was pools,
yeah,
man. Could
yeah.
do
The opportunity's there, and you just gotta jump.
drive my mom's around, you know, like states like every single day, just go out hunting pools, man. And
Absolutely.
that was tip to employees and get some leads of where stuff's being stocked in person for RA people.
Yeah,
Hey, there you go. Yep, yep, absolutely. I mean, if you get that, that's like a competitive advantage. If you can, toss some employee $20 to give you some, vital information or set something aside, like, hey, there you
yeah,
go. The
Yeah,
game changer.
it seems like everybody in the space, like a lot of people we talk to, you know, everyone's like, yeah, everyone in, you know, the Amazon community is so chill. And I think it's the same way, like networking and stuff. You know, it's instead of tip employees, it's like, hey, connect with other sellers and all of that. So, um, you know, same thing as before, really.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
everyone talks about their community. Like we mention it like at least once an episode. I feel like, but it's like unmatched to just have like a group of people that you can bounce ideas off and all this stuff. So obviously
Yeah.
you've been in the game a while, so you probably know quite a few guys in the community that have helped you and you've helped them, vice versa, going throughout your journey here so far.
Yeah, it's crazy starting off. Like I didn't know anyone in person that was doing Amazon. Um, and I didn't really have a friend group just growing up in high school or college that was doing reselling. And
Yeah,
me kind of freelance and reselling, I was always the person that was like, at least in like my personal network, like growing up, like no one was doing reselling or anything like that.
Mm,
Uh, and one guy is like, actually I can probably don't want to tell us out his name, but one guy that I hit up when I was doing pools, I saw that he had some listings on Facebook Marketplace. I ended up sending him a DM just to talk about like, hey, how much you moving like locally and all this stuff, and like, are you selling on eBay or selling on Amazon? And he actually got me into arbitrage ops um, when they were kind of like more closed. So you like you couldn't just enter the group or anything like that. It's probably like 2 years ago.
mm.
And I ran into him randomly in a Walmart, and we were trying to buy like a couple of units left of this like river float toy like blow up, and we were just talking
Okay.
about it, and then we were talking about discords, and then I didn't even realize that this was the guy that kind of like got me into this group, and like it was really him that like introduced me to Amazon and kind of got my foot in the door. Um, and he got me the prep center that I have now and all that stuff. So he was definitely like a big, probably like one of the first people in the Amazon community that, you know, kind of got my, you know,
like
got me.
took you under their wing, so to say, and like showed you along, steered you in the
Exactly.
right direction. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Which was huge
yeah,
because I think it's not rocket science, but it is a little daunting if you have no idea like what Amazon is, to just like what is going on here, all the back end moving parts and just creating an account and all this stuff. It's a lot at first. But
yeah. It's
yeah,
a lot of like time and energy up front, but like none of it's like really hard. I was just talking to someone this morning about it. I was like, yeah, like you're gonna put a lot of time, a lot of effort, especially at the beginning, but none of it's like really hard. Like it's not like you're looking at like a huge problem and you have to solve it. Like you're doing simple things like buying something cheaper, selling it on Amazon for a markup. It's like there's not you can complicate it as many ways as you want, but it's really just that like the bare bones are that simple. Once you can get good at sourcing, it's like it's hire
yeah,
up
Yeah.
prep and like watch numbers go up and do your thing.
Yeah, like we said, we basically harp on this almost every single episode. It's like your network is very important. You need to connect with other people. You can't be a single sailor, because Amazon's literally the ocean. So like if you're gonna try to sail the ocean, you're not doing it by yourself. You need other people with you. And then sourcing is the fuel to ignite the flame of your business and to keep sales going. So like those two things, like if you can really try to do those two things, just reach out to people, be very nice, introduce yourself, ask a question that might be, unique, get someone's attention. It can spark conversation. And then, yeah, just with the sourcing, just practice. It's simple like that when it comes down to it. Um, so yeah.
Yeah,
Cory,
for
do you
sure.
have so you started like 2020s, like when you kind of started getting your foot in the door. How did 2022 go for you?
Yeah, 2022 was awesome. I started taking Amazon a little bit more seriously. Um, it's actually when I got my first apartment and moved out. So that was definitely a huge like life probably milestone.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of overcoming the whole pandemic thing and graduating college and just kind of finding my direction and stuff. So it was a good year to just kind of get sorted on my own and kind of work at it a bit. Got a prep center. Definitely was kind of in the rut of just like not having a network like we're saying now the last few months or like half this year, definitely networking way more. But at that point, at the beginning of last year, it was just kind of the doing it on my own, wasn't 100% confident and like really just trying to scale as much as I could. So I would say it was a good year. Worked on some kind of like virtual assistant stuff, but didn't have like a super clear vision for like the long term. So that was successful, but I'd say the best part about that was just kind of learning what I got of it from just being like a manager. They did pretty well,
Mm-hmm.
but it just wasn't working out. Probably like 4 or 5 months in. So it was huge to kind of get some systems down, and now 2023 just really trying to take it as far as I can go, honestly.
Yeah,
So
scale those systems.
yeah, a hundred
So
percent.
for the viewers, are you full-time Amazon, or are you working a traditional job as well, or doing part-time work, or are you 100% in Amazon game?
Yeah, so I pretty much do all Amazon. Like I said, I do have an audio background, so I do freelance with that. So I
Yeah.
have several clients and freelance, but I don't work a regular 9 to 5. It is kind of just piecing everything together: Amazon, audio, and honestly just other reselling things, tickets, other kind of odd end things that I'm interested with reselling that are just not on Amazon's platform. But yeah, no regular 9 to 5.
Cool. Yeah. I just helps with seeing where you're at and all that stuff. People listening and
Yeah, yeah,
compare their
absolutely.
compare their stories to yours and stuff. It definitely helps. I remember listening to a bunch of podcasts, hearing guys working 9 to 5s, jumping on the buy box bandits, talking about how they're grinding Amazon until 1, 2 in the morning, and I'm like, all right, I can too. So,
Right.
Yeah,
but
if I could do it over again, I would have had like maybe a full-time job coming out of college with Amazon on the side and maybe some freelance or the other kind of like steady clients I had on the side. That definitely would have been probably the best way to obviously fuel your Amazon business. But I was pretty set on not kind of working for someone else at that point and kind of wanting to be free with what time I had and having the freedom to do what I wanted with my time. So I just kind of chose to buckle down on the freelance, buckle down on Amazon, and not kind of have that steady thing that was taking up more time at that point. But I would suggest like it's good to have something to obviously have some capital to toss in on Amazon on the side for sure.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, I would
It
100,
helps.
100% agree. Like just even still like working the 9 to 5 job, because Amazon's a huge cash flow business. So you still have your income from your 9 to 5 that you know it's coming in every week. And then residual from Amazon, like the cash flow machine, you don't have to worry so much about like making a payment on a car or a rent payment or something like that. If you have a bad month with Amazon, not, I mean, like it happens just like anything. Like you can get returns that come out like crazy in January or something that can kind of knock you down to maybe not cash flow as much, but you still have your other income.
100%. 100%.
Cory, how is have you experienced some crazy returns this month from Q4?
Crazy returns. I mean, I have a couple, like, I sold some Christmas decor that I don't usually do too much seasonal stuff, but I'm seeing some returns and stuff with that. I mean, that's just somebody's doing a sly one over, like, it's January, probably had it up, like, you know, it's used or whatever, but they're saying it's damaged and all that stuff. But honestly, I haven't had too many returns. I sold Lulu quite a bit. So some returns with stuff like that, but it honestly hasn't been too bad. And that's something that I'm trying to pay more attention to, is just kind of finding items that might be lower cost of goods and really paying attention to, like, all right, if you're going to get hit bad with returns, like, does it make sense to deal with all this? Because having to liquidate it and all of that stuff, and, you know, is the returns going to offset your net profit and all of that? It's like, is it worth selling this? So
Right.
I've just been taking that into consideration, especially in the new year, with just really focusing on, like, what's the return percentage on some of this stuff, because if you're not paying attention to that, you can really get chewed up.
Yeah, absolutely. That was like one of the things that made me kind of gear down heavy from selling some shoes, because I was just getting so many returns, and it was frustrating. And being like a new seller, it's like, what do you do? Like, do I just keep selling them and just keep getting all these returns, or do I like try something new? So, like many people, I'm gonna try something new, and maybe I'll go back to selling shoes later down the line. Um, but yeah, that's good. Um, good. So I got another question. So last year you kind of started ramping up your operations. Is there something you could share with like the listeners as to maybe when you should get those VAs and what you need to have in place to, like, you know, make sure all these systems keep functioning, and like you are ready for that type of outsourcing?
Yeah, the I'd say the biggest thing is, like we were just touching on, working a 9 to 5 or having some other source of income on top of your Amazon business. And I think the first thing that you should outsource is probably your prep. Like, you don't have a lot of time, just get that outsourced, like, as quickly as possible. And one thing, when I moved, I mean, I'm in the city and I don't have a warehouse or a big garage or anything like that. I do have a storage space, but um, when I moved, I actually still was getting shipments, and it was just a nightmare because I had zero space. And, you know, you're in the city, so that's just, I knew that prep would just be, like, mandatory to have. So I suggest, like, getting familiar with doing the prep yourself, but then get that off your boat as quickly as possible, so you can focus on sourcing. You can focus on, um, you know, all this other stuff that is higher level importance. The VA, like you guys were talking about, like, growing your network, growing your, um, you know, seller network, all of that stuff. You're gonna be able to get to a point where, like, you know, maybe somebody's dropping leads or somebody's dropping some alpha or something like that. And until you're doing, like, a lot of sales, I really don't think you need a VA for sourcing. Um, Unless you're just doing, you know, over 100K, over like 200K, so, like, something where um you really just have zero time to, like, make some deeper buys, and you just are struggling to spend your cash. Um, I think maybe something like an account, like, health assistant or something like that, or just some sort of like
Like a
repricing
service?
or anything, like anything other than sourcing. I think you could probably have earlier on, Something like reconciling your credit card or something like that. Like I think there's a ton of value in that. Or copying to a spreadsheet for your prep center that's just like, hey, that might take you 45 minutes or an hour a week or something. Like I'd say get that earlier on, but until you're like sourcing ninja or something, probably not worth getting a VA to worry about, because then you're gonna have to teach them, and if you don't know yourself, they're just gonna be lost.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, to touch upon like the credit cards and stuff, do you have a recommendation for a new seller, like which credit card they should maybe look into getting? Because there's a lot out there.
Yeah, there's a ton, and you on Twitter, you talk to any of these guys, they're probably like, oh yeah, excuse me, like Cap One 2% on everything, or these business cards or a travel card or whatever. So find out what you like. I think the first business card was like the Chase Ink Business. And if you hit the minimum of like 15K or something, you got like 100,000 points, which is equivalent of like $1,000. So if you just open up a new card and you're a new seller and it's a business card and you spent the 15K in 3 months, that could pay for a vacation right there or travel or stuff. So figure out maybe what card has the biggest bonus for a spend or cash back. Shop around depending on like what your credit is or like how new your business is, and see what you can get. But I definitely suggest a credit card, because big part of this, we know this on the call, but churning points and getting extra cash on top of what we're doing is huge.
Yeah, 100%. Cashback, if you're not utilizing it, you're wrong. Like you need to jump on that. Rakuten,
Literally.
credit card cashback, like that. Those numbers, 2%, or like even well, Rakuten, you can get anywhere from like 1 to 10% back, depending upon the store. But if you're not using that, like you're leaving potential profits out on the table. Like
Lots of it too.
yeah, like it can add up fast. You're spending 30, 40, 50 grand a month and you're not clicking like activate your cash back, or you don't even know what it is. Definitely look into it and get going with that. Back to the outsource thing, that I just had a conversation with someone this morning about out repricer, and this is like definitely real beginner stuff, I guess you could call it. But someone asked me when they should get their repricer activated. I was like, as soon as you're spending more time than you are, like, well, not more time than sourcing, but as soon as you're repricing, like, affects how much you're sourcing. Like if it's 10, 12, 15 ASINs and you're repricing them all day, like you need to get one. I completely forgot about it because I'm just used to the repricer now. But whenever he asked, I was like, man, like just get one now, because that's time you're saving, time you can get spend on sourcing and finding stuff to buy.
Yeah, and it could help your revenue, right? Because you could potentially be making more sales.
Yeah, more sales at a higher profit.
Right, and at a higher profit. Like
yeah, I completely, because it was like back a few months ago. Sorry.
Yeah, 100%. And like, no, I didn't want to cut you off. But I was gonna say, like, a lot of these, like, what, $30 a month or $100 a month for the repricer. Like, that could be huge to your business. Like, even when you're doing, when you're just starting off.
Yeah, so, it was like I got one real early, but it makes sense to get one.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I wish we could like figure out like how much more profit we've made thanks to a repricer, but I'm willing to say, just Zach and I in the last 6 months of doing Amazon. Well, I mean, Zach, 5 months, not even, but I would be willing to say like well in the thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
with the
I'd
amount
say
of
like
volume we've done.
Couple grand, maybe. Just it's stuff you don't even realize. Like if I had to sit there and like monitor, because you still monitor your repricer, like mins and maxes and stuff, but it's nothing compared to like you're like on Seller Central on your phone, like trying to like match buy box and stuff. Like it's just consumes way too much time and energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so outsource prep and get a repricer.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Those are essential. Like, don't stress about it. Just do it, and then you'll figure it out in a few months when you're doing your accounting. If it's not, you know, if it's not right for you at this time, like maybe you're just barely getting your toes wet, like you don't have a lot of money, blah blah blah. Like maybe it won't be right, but majority of people, if you're looking to scale your Amazon business, like these two things are super essential. Um, yeah, don't wait too long to do it. Um, so Cory, what about brand new year, 2023? What's your ambitions? What are your goals this year?
Yeah, I think my goal for last year was really to just get this prep and get a VA or two, and I hit both of those. And sales was a little bit under where I wanted to be, but definitely this year the goal is definitely 1 million or slightly over 1 million in revenue. So that's the goal. But honestly, just have all these systems on lock. Like I was a little loose last year, but even stuff we're talking about cash back, just having like just treating it like a legit business, like just creating like a week map, be like every Friday, all right, I'm gonna check cash back, or Tuesdays, I'm gonna reconcile credit cards, like all that stuff. So you're just not putting things off longer than they need to be. So definitely um 1 mil on Amazon, and that's pretty much the overlying goal. I think I'm gonna try to get a second prep center and just start tracking some more of this other stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much the goal for 2023.
Hell yeah.
Solid,
What about you guys?
solid.
So for me, I'm trying to push for 2 mil sales this year. I mean, it's a lofty goal and I like challenges, so we're aiming for 2 mil this year. So far I think we're at like 60,000. So, you know, take that however you may.
Chipping
Two
away,
weeks, 2 weeks
chipping
into the
away.
year. So yeah, Zach, how
I
about
mean,
you?
yeah, we said like 1.5, 2 mil on a couple podcasts ago, but I mean, yeah, I would be happy with 1.5. I mean, I'd be happy with 1 million too, like, but we're like kind of like Cory says, like focus on my systems and make sure I can still do my job at my 9 to 5 and other obligations and still turn a profit with Amazon. Like that would be huge. Like 1.5, that's the sales goal and stuff, but I really want to make it as hands off as possible, and still get to make those 10, 15K profit months. And
Yeah,
then from
I
there, we'll
mean,
see.
that's like the baseline we want to get to is that 10, 15K profit monthly. And I mean, that opens up so many opportunities to, you know, whatever you want to do, really. Like if you need to get out of debt, if you have student loan debt, any type of debt, you start
Yeah.
chipping away at that,
Well,
like super like on super drive, like you're gonna chip away that super fast. And
yeah,
then,
it's definitely the goal. I guess 2023 wipe out student debt. I don't want it anymore. So if I can pay that off in 2023, I'll be pretty happy.
Oh yeah.
That supersedes the 1.5 million sales. Like I care about the sales, but if student loans are gone, then I'll be happy.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah.
I want to get to a point where definitely it's like I don't even care about the sales. We just got to be living off that cash back, man. All these rewards, like that's the main goal. Then everything's just
Yeah,
rolling.
like Warner says, he's like, yeah, all my expenses, my monthly expenses are covered by cash back. It's like, okay, and he's still turning a profit on Amazon, so you
Right,
can cover
Mhm.
the
huge.
cover your expenses and live the life you want to live.
So Cory, how did you go about finding a prep center?
Uh, um, yeah, I touched on this a little bit before. I did a little bit of digging, but the way I actually got my first prep center was I hit this guy up on Facebook, never knew him, but he was selling pools, and we chatted a
Oh
bit,
yeah.
and he got me into, yeah, and then um he just threw me the sauce, man. Like no one wants to really just give out their prep center, to be honest, to like a lot of people because they're trying to keep it under wraps. But yeah, you just toss it to me and it's been great. And I guys over there. Jump on the phone, call him whenever you want. Have the like personal relationship with them, and I trust those guys over there because that relationship is built. So it's been it goes back to network. And the other day, somebody else gave me one of the prep centers that they use, and that might be my second one. So it's just been really referrals, like we've talked about on the episodes so far, is just who you know and utilizing your network.
Definitely. Definitely. That's how me and Nate got our prep center. Like I don't think we would have found out when we could have with some digging, I guess, but one of our friends just tossed it to us and we were like, all right, yeah, let's try it out. But
We got lucky too because they just stopped taking new clients like last week or something.
yeah, I did see an email come out. So it's like we snuck in like last month, mid-December, and just started sending them a bunch of units and seeing how it works. It's definitely a huge, like we'll talk about this probably until the end of time, but like getting rid of all the products from your house and having like that quality control handed over is definitely a gut, like a little pit in my stomach. That's like thinking like, is this everything getting out the right way and stuff? But you put a lot of trust into the prep center to handle your inventory, right? And I think by like human nature, some things are going to be messed up once in a while, but you just figure that out with your prep center, and I don't know, everything comes out in the wash at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like I think
Yeah.
it's definitely a lot to get over. You're talking about doing okay to over 100,000 revenue a month or something. You're spending tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. One, you can't even touch all that stuff yourself prepping it, but you have to trust where you're sending it to because it's your it's your capital. So it's huge. Trust these guys, and that's why having a referral or something is nice, because if you trust your network, then hopefully they have a good experience. So you're already kind of taming the fear of something bad happening.
Yeah, seriously.
Right.
And I mean, there's been like a minor discrepancy, like one that I can think of right now that's happened, but I really wouldn't chalk it up as like I'm gonna like get a new prep center or something. Like, kind of understand that. I don't know if you guys have either of you have had any, I wouldn't say horror stories, but like prep center like mishaps, you could call it. I don't know, Cory, if you got any.
Yeah, I mean, there's like this winter, I talked about selling some holiday stuff, and there was stuff that was just shipped out FBM that was just honestly the wrong item. So I mean that hurts. I mean, now it's like you get a bad review or something, and the customer's pissed, and it's around the holiday and returns and all of that stuff. So yeah, I mean that wasn't happy, but they essentially came back and said, "Hey, look, we messed this up. We'll just comp you, whatever you lost, and free prep fees for your next thing." So like it's just trying to find that happy medium. I think there's been some stuff where it's like, all right, it's been delivered, but is that them, or is it UPS leaving it a block down the street or something? Like it's trying to figure out the prep center, or was it the actual carrier? So like I said, there's been a couple of minor things, but it's like opportunity cost. If I'm in the city and I have to be sitting around all day waiting for you, like whoever, and they leave it on the street and it's stolen, like it's way better dealing with one or two things that it's just out of my hands than having to worry about it myself. So there's been a couple minor things, but not any crazy horror story or anything.
Yeah,
But
cool. That's good to hear.
Yeah, and hopefully for you guys too. Like I would suggest anyone to have like a master sheet with like everything on. So even if you have like a shared sheet, if you're like 100% just listing stuff on there and something gets moved around or deleted, or like you don't have a backup of any of that, so definitely like be thorough with everything you're doing, so you can like if a issue comes up, then you essentially like reconcile your inventory that you know is there or not there, or if there's some shady
Yeah.
going on,
Yeah.
you can come
Yeah.
at it. Like you just want to try to stay organized.
Yeah. On top of
Right.
your stuff as much as you can. Which I mean, I feel like like not always, but when I was a real beginner, I was like, oh, the prep center, it's gonna be like 100% hands off. Like I'm just gonna send stuff there and it's gonna magically check into FBA. But
Mm.
for like beginners there or like people who haven't like taken that step to getting a prep center, like there is some like groundwork that you have to do as well to ensure that all your stuff's going. And I feel like everyone always says like, oh, I got a prep center, and then boom, like I've never seen any of my inventory again, and it's great. It's like, but we all know that there are some discrepancies that do happen. Nothing, no business is completely perfect. So I feel like it's good to kind of like bring those up and talk about them because I don't know that a lot of people really do, but it's just good to recognize and kind of share it with the folks so they know that we're not out here just moving to a prep center and then it's no more headaches at all. But sometimes they can come up. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. It's not 100% smooth sailing, but it's definitely the way to go if you're serious about scaling and not touching this stuff every day.
Yeah, the way I look at it, it's like whenever, like, if you were just shipping FBA out of your house for like months and months and months, like you get some shipments that just don't check in at FBA or at Amazon. Like you'll send 50 units and only 46 check in or something like that. That's kind of how you can think of your prep center. Like, there might be a 1% rate that's, something doesn't work out, and that's because there's many moving parts. Like you're ordering it from a site, that site has to use some tracking number and some shipping service that has to go to like a warehouse, which is a commercial property, which could be shared commercial property. So maybe it was a different delivery driver that day and they dropped it off at the wrong door, and something could go missing. Like there's a lot of moving parts, but as long as you're okay and you can accept that 1%, 2% could get fucked up, like that's it, like that happens.
yeah,
So that's how I thought of it when I you know let go of all the prepping.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
100% agree.
cost of doing
Cost of-
business.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely need to get onto the master spreadsheet that you're mentioning, Corey. I mean, I do have something, but I'm in the process of getting another VA that's going to be doing all shipments and tracking numbers and stuff, and I think that'll be an added piece of like paperwork, because the last thing you want to do is like this year, the whole year goes by and you start doing your accounting and it's like, oh, I missed this and this, and now I didn't make 100 grand, I made 75 because 25 grand of stuff is gone.
Yeah,
you know
especially if you miss it. Ordering more volumes throughout the year.
Oh yeah, it's yeah, like all of us when we're doing thousands of units, you can't remember like when you flipped a couple things on eBay from like collector's items. It's easy to think back and be like, okay, I sold this whatever in June. But when you're selling a lot of stuff, I mean, you have no idea what you bought a month ago, honestly, at what quantity. Like,
Yeah,
so the other thing that's huge about that spreadsheet is definitely for this year, I'm getting way more on the cash back that we talked about. So like every single buy, man, just rack it in 10%, right? Top
mm,
cash, whatever. Mark it down on your order number, ASIN quantity. And then like, at the end of the week or the end of the month, you can like reconcile your Rakuten or your top cash or whatever and be like, all right, I had 15% from this retailer that didn't pay me out. Like go submit a claim and like get that,
yeah,
back in your account. Even when you're dealing with, if everyone's kind of doing online arbitrage or not really wholesale, but when you're pushing like order quantities and stuff, if you have a buy sheet with your cancellations and stuff, you can kind of tell like how frequently can I hit a website at what quantity on a checkout. Like you just have a map of all your buys. So when you're going back and buying from the same place, you can kind of see like if I hit 8 or 15 or I can hit 30, like if you got to check out and it shipped last time, then there's no reason it shouldn't this time. So yeah, I think the master sheet you can put, whatever you want on it, but those two have been huge.
Right.
Yeah, you can
Absolutely.
definitely gather a lot of data from that. Like what you're saying, like the order cancels and stuff, like something like online arbitrage sellers struggle with like a lot is order cancels. Cause like if anyone could just go on and buy 100 units of any given product every day, it's like this would definitely be so much easier. But narrowing it down and using your spreadsheet to like be like, okay, I can hit six units like twice a day. Then gather that data and then you can use it and kind of like expand on how many units you can actually buy of something, especially if it's moving fast.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, like all the data is there. If you're logging it, then you can just go back and reference it and you're good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. That helps with organization, so you become more efficient, and then you're setting up a system now that, like, someday if you didn't want to be the buyer, you outsource it, and now your buyer knows, like, okay, this is the schedule of the day. I gotta buy here, 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 this many, I'm spending this much money, I'm hitting the spend goal, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I mean, that's the beauty about Amazon is it's, multiple systems that can all be outsourced.
Yep,
Awesome.
100%.
I don't know how crazy I am about hiring a buyer though right now. That
Yeah,
that's like
Yeah.
alerts to
was
the
that
max, mobile.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
just
literally like final boss. That's like the final boss. If you can give that outsource that, then you have like achieved like the final achievement of
you have
Amazon.
achieved Amazon automation.
Yeah,
Like
Right.
definitely people that do it, but it seems like all the guys that are doing that are just like, yeah, I just don't care if it's on a credit card and somebody like is trying to use my card for personal endeavors or whatever. It's just like, hey, it's cancel it and get it back. But it definitely seems to me it's like a little, it's a little risky, but how much do you want to be removed? So because then
yeah.
I think
And I mean
it adds up.
with employee
So
cards. With employee
yeah,
cards too, it's like you can pretty much like assign them the employee card and then if something does like go crazy then you just shut down their card and fire them or whatever. Like what I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine it would fall on you to like pay for someone else's like new iPhone that they bought on your business card. Like, I'd assume you could get out of it.
Yeah, there's probably contingency plans. I mean, you could probably even limit like what stores the card would work for if you talk to like, say American Express, be like, hey, I don't want this card to work here. Like, do not let
Yeah.
purchases at, whatever site work. Stuff like that. I mean, all it could take is a phone call.
yeah,
Okay.
For sure.
Going for what, like 45 minutes or so? I think. I don't
Yeah,
yeah,
know.
but yeah, about 45. I had one question with regards to um like private label OA like wholesale. So you're mainly OA. Do you have any like wholesale or private label um aspirations for the future, like near future or even a year down the road?
yeah. Private label for sure. Um, I do like OA. I see obviously a lot of people are able to excel in that and really scale. So there's no question in, OA being a model that you can scale. But I would say there's something that intrigues me about just owning your actual product and like, the creativity part behind that and actually having some branding and marketing. So I would say maybe um 2024, 25, maybe doing some PL or something like that. I would love to try
Oh,
to maybe break into like a wholesale deal or something this year. Just like to have some stuff where you know that you got a good price on it and then you really don't have to worry about sourcing so much. Like OA, you're always trying to figure out, all right, how much available is there on the market, or did I get this the cheapest to make sure if it goes down in price, like I'm still going to be at a net profit. But
yeah.
yeah, wholesale for sure. I'd love to get one or two things this year. to just really know, like, all right, this is a thing that I can replan, and I know I got it for a good price, and I can really compete with anyone that comes on here because it was a good deal. But PL probably a year or two. Would love to do some wholesale stuff, but 100% OA right now.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I was just curious. I know we were talking a lot about OA, but I know is like the new year brings wholesale aspirations for a lot of people. I feel like that didn't start it last year. They're like, all right, 2023, we're getting into wholesale.
Yep.
But yeah, I
Seen a
definitely
lot
like
of that.
you can allocate a lot of spend to like if you can spend $5,000 a week through a whole couple wholesalers, like you're getting the price, you're buying stuff that's going to move, and you can just get those sales numbers that you want and make that profit. So definitely something I'm looking forward to in the future.
Yeah, for sure. And it comes back to it's like, all right, not seller network, but now you have a network with suppliers. So hopefully, the longer the relationship goes and the more you're willing to spend, hopefully that comes back and the 316 you get some good deals and some better pricing like for the long term. So I think it'd be huge.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So Cory, we gonna see you at ASD or Miami Sellers Conference or PAX West or anything, or not PAX West, Expo West
Expo, yeah.
coming this year?
Coming up pretty fast, but
It is.
yeah, I think I'm gonna go out to. I think I'm gonna try to get out to ASD. That'd be
All right.
lit. I haven't been at one convention. There wasn't a lot of OA. Unfortunately, there's a lot of private label. But I actually went with Zach Zanos and the group. We met up in New York, and it was cool. There wasn't a lot there just because it was super heavy into like the hemp and stuff like that for private label. But it was still out and feel it. But yeah, I think ASD would be sweet. So
Yeah, for sure. Just
Right on.
me and Nate just booked the flights last week. So if you make it out, we'll have to link up and grab food and talk shop or whatever.
Drive Lambos together.
say that Lambo, bro.
Yeah.
That'd be funny. All right. I mean, I think that might wrap it up tonight. What do you guys
Sweet.
think?
Yeah. I'm good. Cory, you're not on Instagram or FBA Instagram. You didn't.
Yeah, FBA Instagram, man. I'm lacking, but I can drop my personal. Definitely starting to rip out maybe the more FBA stuff. Maybe like a YouTube and a TikTok and stuff. But
Gotcha.
yeah, you can hit me up on Instagram, Jennings C _. So yeah, maybe we'll like post that in the description or something.
Yeah, for sure.
FBA Twitter, it's Discord name is Viper, so it's Viper 3Rs _ FBA. So you can catch me on some FBA content. It's a brand new account there, so we're gonna get cooking on some more FBA stuff. But yeah, hit me up on either.
Right
Nice,
on.
nice.
All right, folks. Well, we're gonna drop all those links in the description below. Give Cory a follow, give him a DM, ask him a question. I mean, as you guys all heard throughout tonight, that he's slowly ramping up operations, and he's gonna be a big time seller at the end of this year. Over $1 million in sales. I can feel it. But yeah, I think that wraps up episode 11. Zach, you got anything to tell the people before we go?
I don't, man. I'm good.
Yes, you
All
do.
right.
Guys, like,
What?
comment, subscribe.
Oh.
Yeah, man, you can't leave that out.
Yeah, jeez. I'm slacking. I'm slacking. Peace out,
Zach's a
everyone.
little tired.
Yeah.